S Word, featuring Will Gavin and Master Fascian. And a squad of big-name contributors. The S Word from talkSPORT.
It is Friday, it is the S Word, it is talkSPORT. A very good morning to our friends across the other side of the pond. It's 8 a.m. Eastern, it's 1 p.m. here in the UK. I'm Will Gavin, this is Master Fascian, and we are bringing the energy on a Friday, baby.
Happy Friday. I just taught the whole crew what Summer Friday is, so I hope we're bringing that Summer Friday energy, even though it's not for summer.
He also tried a battered sausage for the first time today, so the cultural exchanges are absolutely off the chain
We just debated about cheese for 15 minutes, which hopefully doesn't spill over in the next
Oh, it's all coming in. Basically, we're not going to do a show about sport today. We're just
talk about food.
Talk about the cuisine of the World Cup. We have got a great show coming up. Saying that we got the FA Cup final to talk about. And then we keep forgetting it's the FA Cup final when we're trailing this show ahead, and maybe that's
you speak French
a
now.
real problem.
Oui.
We'll be talking about a massive weekend in the Premier League and across all the major European leagues as well. We've got some great guests in the studio. We're going to be doing Masterdamus. We're going to be doing all our usual Friday stuff. And we're going to be hearing from you hopefully as well. Big show, baby.
Big show.
All right. Also coming up in the show, we have a talkSPORT OG. For our new fans, and I know there are people tuning in from the States for the first time, we love seeing you on the chat, etc. I'll have it open here on my laptop, so get involved. Let us know if you're enjoying the show, what you want us to talk about, etc. Maybe give us some love. You know, yesterday the Celtic chat led to some pelters coming definitely my way. I'm sure your way as well.
Yeah, I mean, I got mine through the Premier League as a Super League.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
It's all good. No worries.
We're here for some positivity today. We're here to enjoy it. It's Friday, but Adrian Durham is going to be in the studio, a genuine talkSPORT OG, a legend around these parts. Massive Chelsea fan presenter Kwaku Afari is going to be in the house. Guess what we're going to be talking about today as well, Master?
Food?
The Daily Real is back.
Oh,
because
okay. Even better.
Literally every day Real Madrid gives us something new. To the point where earlier on there was a personal life drama from one of the players, and Master got so excited about it. I think it really has become like the Real Housewives to you.
It is the most fascinating reality show on television, and I'm not one to consume reality TV, but I can't take my eyes away from Real Madrid right now.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Look, let's kick things off with this weekend ahead. We'll be previewing the Premier League games. We'll be doing our picks for the weekend in Masterdamus a little bit later on. You can get in touch with the show, of course, as well. All these lovely bits to the side of us as you look. Thank you very much, Lucy, on the other side of the glass, for making me not look like a total idiot. Instagram at talkSPORT, Twitter at talkSPORT, YouTube there. Get in the chat as well. All of those places. We're talking a lot about the Premier League coming up today. We have got, of course, West Ham in action, that relegation battle. We will be talking plenty about the European chase going on. But here in London, there is an English showpiece, one of the great games in world football, the culmination of the oldest cup competition on the face of the globe. And it's at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. That's basically unheard of. The FA Cup final is on the way.
I always enjoy the FA Cup final. But this one, I don't know. I agree with you in the fact that maybe it's not being talked about enough, the reality of the circumstances. It'll be interesting to see if Manchester City and Chelsea are able to sell out their allocations, truth be told, as well, considering the hype and the anticipation. And also because Manchester City struggled to sell their allocation in the semifinal. But it's still a major cup. I always enjoy watching the FA Cup final, regardless of where I'm at in the world. But when I'm here in London, especially, going to the pubs and seeing the excitement, usually the sun is out. It's always a really nice day. It is still a special competition. And so hopefully we get a great game. But you know,
my problem is we've been maybe accused of a little bit of negativity around some of it, and we are guys who love football and love watching football. And tomorrow we are going to wake up, and of course we will be watching Hearts against Celtic at lunchtime, and then we're going to be watching the FA Cup final, and we're going to be drinking it all in, enjoying it, listening to it on talkSPORT, whatever you're going to be doing.
Because there's no Premier League on.
So many great storylines for us to tuck into, and yet I don't like. The Yonk group chats have been going off, right? The fact that this isn't the last game of the season is annoying a lot of English fans.
I don't know why that happened, though. I don't know why it changed. I'm guessing the schedule fixture congestion. You were accustomed to seeing a Man City being in both competitions in the Champions League final and the FA Cup final, but it's kind of worked against them this year because the schedule fixture congestion that they're dealing with right now is because of the FA Cup final.
There's a lot of stuff to do with the FA Cup final. It's to do with Wembley availability. It's to do with when the Championship and the playoff finals are going to be. It's to do with when Harry Styles has to come to town and play.
Gotta always be mindful of Harry Styles.
It's to do with the World Cup as well. It's to do with all of that. I'm less bothered about it being the last game of the season, actually. I've not been so annoyed about it. And like I said, Miguel Delaney did a fantastic piece about this in the Independent today, right? It's a 3:00 final on a Saturday involving the two most successful teams in England over the last 25 years. It's got an English head coach who is participating in his first ever cup final after just 6 games in charge, looking to become the first English head coach or manager to win the FA Cup since Harry Redknapp in 2008. He's going up against one of the greatest managers, if not the greatest manager of the past 2 decades in world football. It has got so much potential romance, so much to be excited about, and yet it feels like the Asterix Cup final. It feels like, with the 115 charges hanging over, with people being excited about Man City going and potentially winning the Premier League, with Chelsea and everything going on behind the scenes, with will Xabi Alonso become the manager? But we feel like we're talking more about those storylines and the fact that there is a game of football for a major piece of silverware being played tomorrow, and it really feels like the general approach from the wider football public is a bit towards this FA Cup final, which it shouldn't be. It should be the showpiece. It should be the thing we're excited about.
It should, but the other part to this is that it's always about the magic of the FA Cup. What magic is there with Manchester City if they win the FA Cup again? What magic is there with Chelsea, as much as they failed backwards once again this season? What magic is it that they somehow fail their way into another trophy in a term of chaos?
But for many years, Arsenal dominated. For many years, Man United dominated, and we were fine with it as long as it was pure and it was entertaining and it was, all played in the right spirit. But I feel like nobody is excited. You're never going to recapture Crystal Palace going to an FA Cup final for the first time in nearly 30 years last year. You're not going to
You almost did with Leeds. I'm going to lie. In the semi-final, you had Leeds and Southampton, regardless of what you think of the Spygate situation. Those two were great stories of them making it to the semi-final that could have culminated the same sentiment that we felt last year when Crystal Palace won.
Yeah, exactly. So you're never going to be able to recreate that when you've got the juggernauts there, right? And you've got a final, Man City playing at Wembley again, people rolling their eyes and aren't necessarily excited about it. But it could be Pep's last piece of silverware. It could be the thing that kickstarts Chelsea's turnaround. It could be, like I say, an English manager winning it for the first time in nearly 20 years, and yet none of it feels like the usual. Normally the day before the FA Cup final, I'm buzzing. I'm planning what I'm doing that morning. What am I going to do for breakfast? I used to watch it on TV, and I hate to sound like an old man romantic.
Come on, Unc.
But I used to get up, and the TV coverage started at 9 a.m. from Wembley and gave you 6 hours of build up to the final. Big interviews, going and looking in going to the local communities and doing so much cool stuff. And yeah, we're doing some great build-up on talkSPORT, but I don't know, it doesn't have that same fervour, that same magic, that same excitement I'd normally have about it, to the point where this week, when we've been getting hyped about all the great football coming over the next couple of weeks, Villa being in a European final, the run-in for the Premier League, what's happening in the La Liga relegation battle, all of that stuff, the Championship playoffs and all that stuff, the Scottish Premiership, all of that stuff kind of is taking precedent in my mind over the FA Cup. And I sound a bit Rory Jennings when I do this, but it's the oldest cup competition. This is meant to be the showpiece, and I'm just not feeling very showpiece about it.
I think that's a fair sentiment to have. Again, with City, it almost feels like this cup competition is happening, this final's happening in the midst as they're trying to compete with the Premier League, and it feels like the I don't want to call it an inconvenience because it is a trophy. It is the FA Cup final. But having to turn back around afterwards, I think a lot more eyes are on Man City going to Bournemouth on Tuesday, and if they potentially drop points and Arsenal wins on Monday, then the Premier League title has been decided. So I feel like there's a lot more.
Do you think if they were already out of it, say Arsenal had already won the Premier League and this was Man City's only chance at silverware? I know they've already won the Carabao Cup, the EFL Cup this year already, but if this was if that had real jeopardy on it for those
then you got the romantic narrative of this is officially potentially Pep's last chance at getting a trophy. I think that narrative would be much stronger going into this week, going into this weekend. But the simple fact that they are still alive for the Premier League and winning the title, and the simple fact that there's still some doubt that people have that Arsenal will find a way to stumble across.
Still a domestic treble on the table here, guys.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think that's kind of what everyone's still waiting to see how it plays out. And then on the other side with Chelsea, they've just been in poor form. It's I mean, you can blame as much as you want whether the hype is existing or not, but these fan bases aren't even talking about this. The Chelsea fans that I know are not talking about this. And the truth of the matter is, neither fan base, Manchester City or Chelsea, are going to talk about this FA Cup final unless they win it. Then there are going to be the most obnoxious people in the world Saturday evening because
an Arsenal fan.
They'll be talking about how they won the FA Cup, and in the midst of everything going on, either City will be able to do a double, going for a domestic treble, or Chelsea, in the midst of chaos, once again, is able to find a trophy. So
chaos or trophies, baby.
Exactly. So I think that's kind of what they're all nervously waiting for, is that whether they'll be able to have the bragging rights afterwards, but they're very quiet leading up to this.
That much being said, City did leave Haaland, they did leave Shirky, did leave Jeremy Doku on the bench midweek against Palace and won comfortably. Chelsea finally got off the slide in the Premier League. They didn't lose a game. They have, in that time, they've also won the FA Cup semi-final. Those are things that have been slight positives.
Those are things that did happen.
There are, I heard twice this morning on the breakfast show on talkSPORT here in the UK, a guest being asked not who's going to win the FA Cup by how much, because there's such a conviction that Man City. But who knows? Maybe we get some Pep Guardiola final chicanery going on, and he does something wild,
overthinking it, kind of. But
I don't know. I'm trying to G myself up here. I'm trying to get myself excited for it.
I get it. This is very admirable of you of trying. It's the effort is what counts, and I hope the effort you're giving right now is similar to the effort that we see from Chelsea at Wembley, but I'm afraid that will not be the case, unfortunately.
We've also got other news from around football. For people, we will preview the FA Cup from a footballing perspective. Quaku's joining in the studio later. I think there are ways that Chelsea go and win this game of football. I absolutely
100%. Yes, there is.
There's plenty of excitement to be talked about on the field. Man City putting in a brilliant performance despite dropping a bunch of their stars in midweek. There's loads to get into with that. We will do with Quaku. We'll do it a little bit with Adrian Durham as well, who's our host out there for the game tomorrow. But let's just do a little bit of breaking news from this afternoon, broken this morning, in fact, on talkSPORT. Michael Carrick has been offered a 2-year deal to be Manchester United manager. They are aiming to get it done by the weekend, if they can. A 2-year deal with a year's option on top. Steve Holland is going to be staying on 2 with the team. I mean, it's very difficult to say at this point this is the wrong decision. I was a guy who came on radio after 3 games and was like, do you have a better option right now? Let's give this guy a year and see what he can do. And I think most Man United fans, it feels like have been won round by that. There are some who like the glitz and the glamour of some possible other names. I feel like 32 points from 42. They'd be top of the Premier League based on the form table since he took over. What more could he have done? There's a lot of rebuilding to do in the summer, but this feels 100%. Like the right decision to me.
I think it is too. I think a lot of Man United fans, unfortunately, just have PTSD because they've been trying to find the Sir Alex Ferguson replacement. And once again, you're kind of tapping back into the past to find someone that can bring back that nostalgia, bring back that identity that Manchester United has had for so long, that so many generations have been able to enjoy. And is it going to be Carrick? It's more so they're trying to protect themselves in the event it does not work out. And in the event that after 1 year, this thing, it goes sideways once again. And this contract essentially is suggesting that Manchester United ownership is probably feeling the same way. What you said, it was a 2-year deal with a 3rd-year option. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it's the longest leash that he will have. Next year is going to be crucial for Michael Carrick. This summer is going to be important in terms of who they bring in, what kind of depth they'll be able to have, what they'll be able to do to compete both in the Premier League and Champions League, which I know Flex says is not a big deal, but I think it still is. It's 2 competitions that you're participating in alongside with the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, which they were knocked out of very early. So all of these factors go into play of whether they'll be able to have the proper depth to compete in 4 different competitions. And that's something that I don't think we've seen from a depth-wise from Manchester United in quite some time. So are we going to hold that against Carrick if, in fact, they're not able to bring in the adequate depth that he needs to compete on all fronts, and then they can cut their losses at the end of next season? It's a tough position to be in, but that's the spot that they find themselves in. It's not the most convincing sign of approval from the board that it's only a 2-year deal with a 3rd-year option. But
I'm not out here looking for them to give him a 5-year mega contract. I don't think that was necessarily the way to go down. I think Carrick is going to take the job on. He's too steady for it to let that affect him. I think this is a great decision. It's a great move from Man United. I'm really on board.
Do you think he'll make it through the next year?
Yeah, I do. I think they have to do a lot more than maybe some Man United fans realise. That squad is not in a great state right now. Like, we've already talked about their midfield, if and when they lose Casemiro, if and when they lose Ugarte as well, which is a move most Man United fans are happy to see happen. But essentially, you've only got Kobbie Mainoo in the middle. What are you doing up top? What are you doing at fullback? There's loads of question marks about this team. Depth is clearly an issue as well. When you're going to be playing in Europe, you're going to be playing on four fronts. So all of those things. So they need to not just back in with a contract, they need to back in with some money as well. They need to show that they are going to do some smart business in the market. All of that has to happen. But as a coach, as a guy with, in terms of tactical nous, as a leader of men and a guy that knows how to train people up and knows how to bring the best out of people, I think what we've seen from him so far in his career is all very positive. This does, like...
Do vibes create wins? And it has this year, yes, but is that something that is a model of consistency that will result in being able to bring Manchester United back to where they're at? And that is the biggest question I feel like that has to be answered. And I can understand the skepticism that you need more than vibes and
if I had to make a direct comparison, right? If I had to make a comparison with somebody else who was left in a similar situation, right? Frank Lampard managed in the Championship, came close to getting Derby promoted, didn't get Derby promoted, ended up getting a chance at the Chelsea job, right? That's a very truncated version of that storyline, but basically that's the storyline. He went to Chelsea, and that was classic Chelsea of recent years, coming in, dealing with egos, 5 different manager squads, contracts all over the place, complete and utter mess, and he had to try and come in and figure it out and settle heads. And I don't think he did a bad job. He brought a lot of young players through, but he went into that second season and they just tanked after a really good first year, right? I wasn't sure he was ready for that job at the time. And I think it's great that he went back to the Championship, reset himself, did a brilliant job, sensational job. It really won me round. I wasn't convinced of Frank Lampard as a manager long term. And now has got Coventry back to the Premier League. Sensational. What a job he's done. Carrick, I feel differently about. I think the job that he did at Middlesbrough, considering the financial restraints of that club versus the other teams they were competing with at the top end of the Championship, considering the fact they kept selling their best players, particularly their star striker during that time, like, I think the expectations were unfair from what they expected from him, because he did get them into the playoffs and then drop back out again versus what he could actually achieve. It was an incredibly tough job, but I was very impressed with what he did there. I just think he's the kind of guy who's come in, he's already steadied the ship. He's already got, there's only 1 or 2 really guys there who you need to get on board. He seems to have those guys on board, the Bruno Fernandes, etc. of the world. It isn't like Chelsea, where if you lose that dressing room, you could really lose it. Yes, it's going to be interesting to see how he builds a team now. He's going to have some money and some backing, but I trust him to just be a bit more steady. I feel like he is ready for this. I really do feel.
But do you need a steady arm, or do you need someone that can help elevate this? Because third place, I'm sorry, it's not good enough for Manchester United.
If they qualify for the Champions League next season, if they qualify again, if they finish top 4 and they're pushing into latter stages of cups, maybe they reach final, maybe they win a domestic piece of silverware. But even if they're reaching semi-finals of cups and they finish top 4, I think that's a successful season for Man United. As long as they rebuild, as long as they're pushing forward, as long as they cut a load of that chaff and bring in some new talent. You've got to see progress on the pitch, but from a results perspective, I think top 4 is and maybe getting out of the group stage of the Champions League and getting into the latter stage of the Cups. That is a successful season as far as I'm concerned, based on what we've seen in the Amarim era.
They sacked Adrian Durham despite the fact that he won trophies. And that's, again, whether that precedent still exists now with the new vibes and the Michael Carrick sentiment that everyone has, I'm not sure, but that is a precedent that we have seen from Manchester United. So there has to be something that's elevated this year. If in fact they are going to spend big and they are going to invest in Carrick's project, as they tried to do with Ruben Amorim, as they tried to do with Adrian Durham, with whatever resources they have, being able to make it the Champions League. If they're going to invest in this project, unfortunately the pressure is on for him to show some sort of results. And I think it has to be in some way a trophy, because if not, then there's more reason and subject for them to move on from him. And that's what this contract essentially tells me.
How is it different from Mikel Arteta taking over Arsenal 6 years ago and the time that he was given and the time that he took to turn it around?
That's a great question. I mean, I guess
because
the immediacy of
yeah, like that wasn't the brief he was given. Why should that be the brief for Carrick?
I agree. I mean, I think it's 2 different circumstances, 2 different situations. In terms of Arteta and getting him back to Champions League and what he was able to do, like it took some time. I agree with you. I think perhaps what Arsenal was dealing with is a bigger mess than what Manchester United is dealing with.
I mean, Manchester United feels like a pretty big mess if you ask their fans, but
it does. But they're still able to spin. They're still able to find ways to try and at least build within the project. Like, Arsenal's hamstrung because of the stadium, and I know that people want to use that excuse all the time, but it's the truth of the matter. And I feel like there's been more time distance in terms of the shadow Sir Alex Ferguson and compared to Arsene Wenger that United should be able to find more
I think
ways
it's a really
to,
interesting comparison between. I think it's like maybe one we need to explore in more depth. But Adrian Durham is in the building, and so we need to get to the great man. Coming up on the S Word. Don't forget you can get in touch with us on all the usual social media channels. Get in the chat on YouTube as well. Adrian joins us in the studio up next.
From kickoff to the full-time whistle, talkSPORT presents the S Word. talkSPORT presents the S Word. High energy exchanges, fiery fan reactions, and the biggest football debate. The S Word from talkSPORT.
You're back with the S Word on talkSPORT. Will Gavin, Master Tez Fatty, huge weekend of live football coming for you across the talkSPORT network. Premier League, relegation Premier League, title deciders, and of course the FA Cup tomorrow, live on talkSPORT. A 3 o'clock Saturday kickoff. An English manager could win it for the first time in 18 years. There is romance there. I just don't know. I'm not quite...
In the pouring rain, I'm sure too, right?
Feeling it right now. Very possibly, very possibly. Don't forget you can get in touch with the show on Instagram, on YouTube, on X as well, at talkSPORT S Word. Get in the chat with any of the topics we're discussing today, including that Carrick contract and the FA Cup final. And so I'd say the man who is going to be hosting the FA Cup final for talkSPORT tomorrow is going to be at Wembley. You are doing that, right? I'm not just saying this.
That, yeah,
Good, yeah, just making sure. I just made that claim because I assumed because he's the king of live sport, Adrian Durham is in the building.
I'm taking the day off. what I live for.
It's a beautiful thing. Are you excited about tomorrow?
Of course, it's the FA Cup final. I mean, I'm very, very excited about it. There's some dates at the end of the football season that I really love. The Championship playoff final is one of them. That is probably my favourite day of the whole football season. FA Cup final is definitely another one. So those 2 dates are nailed down in my diary from very early on.
Is there any part, though, that you understand why there's maybe a little fatigue? Not the last game of the season. It's the 2 teams with the biggest asterisks next to them humanly possible. I feel like this week we've been building up to a piece of silverware, and yet all we've talked about is City being in the Premier League title race, and is Xabi Alonso going to be the Chelsea manager? Not one of them could win the oldest cup competition in existence.
Hold on. I think you on this show have been talking about that penalty for Celtic. Never mind anything else. So yeah, no, I know what you're saying, and actually I had a birthday this week, okay? I'm not going to tell you how old, but I'm of that generation that believes the FA Cup final is a sacred day, should be at the end of the season, should be the last game of the season, on TV all day where you're in with the families and on the bus going in and all that sort of stuff. So, but I think that's a generational thing, a traditional thing, all of that. And actually, I'm okay with how things are. I've kind of come to terms with it because the Premier League is so huge now. The climax of the Premier League season, and we still don't know who's going to be champions. We're all hoping it's going to be Manchester City.
What? Who's we?
We're
Who's we?
all of us.
No, we're not.
We are praying that.
Don't come here with that Arsenal hating narrative right
Kyle
now.
Walker and
2 minutes
Burnley.
into the segment, I'm over here praising you.
We did that. Steve McInerney was on yesterday, who said, "Who knows? Kyle Walker could score a screamer from 20 yards, and you hit the bar 5 times, and suddenly the title race is back on."
He was talking like a Man City fanfic, and I just was not entertaining that whatsoever.
It's just a drama. It's not about hating Arsenal. It's just we want a bit of drama at the end of the season.
You want the drama? I'm sorry, it's going to be anticlimactic.
What about if Burnley beat Arsenal and then Bournemouth beat Man City? Now that's drama.
That is drama, but it's not going to happen. I live in reality. I love to live in reality, and it's not. Your drama's going to come to an end on Tuesday.
Do you want some worrying to do before?
I do not actually. That is a very
because
that's not a question we ask in America.
I think Scott Parker has left some good players that he didn't use properly, and I think Mike Jackson is actually using them way better. And
Did you just watch the biopic? Is that the inspiration? you thinking they'll just beat it? Is that what you're
I'm not saying it's going to be a thriller, but what I am saying is that he's got some good players that probably shouldn't have been, might have finished bottom 3, but probably shouldn't have been relegated as easily as they were. And I think they could do a little bit of damage. Listen, Arsenal should beat them. There's no question about it. But I think if you underestimate Burnley, I think they showed in the last couple of games, even though they drew one and lost one, that they're a different proposition to what they were under Scott Parker.
So I came in the studio bragging about the quad when it was a thing. Very
bragging. He came in going, "It's quad day, baby!" like slapping his legs and in only that brash way that our American brethren can.
And then it was dropped down to trouble, and we're working with what we got. Okay,
taking the double, and then it's going to be a single, and
now you're talking burgers. That's a whole different thing than what we're dealing with right now. But now, people in the studio, the office, Flex, who's been very anti-Arsenal, he telling me congratulations on the Premier League, and I've had to tell everybody to calm down. It's not over yet. Still got to get the job done. I agree with you. Monday will not be a cakewalk, but I feel like I have to say that just to make sure that I'm not jumping ahead of my skis and making sure that Arsenal fans show up on Monday with the same energy and excitement that we saw against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League semifinal second leg. Because, as you said, if the energy's not there, the atmosphere's not there, if we're being very pretentious in the fact that we think it's all over, that's unfortunately where Arsenal finds a way to slip up.
Okay, if it's not going to be a cakewalk against Michael Jackson's side, it's going to be a moonwalk.
Did you hear Jack Wilson on Breakfast this morning,
I did,
by the way, who was asked, and I wanted to put this to you, you're only allowed to win one, Premier League or Champions League.
Why one?
Which is more important? No, come on.
No.
This is a hypothetical.
Both.
Entertain it.
Both.
You can only win one of them. What's more important?
There's a simple answer to this.
The first ever Champions League or the first Premier League in 22 years.
They are 3 matches away from winning both. Why do I have
I'm
to
guaranteeing you one right now. Guaranteeing you one right now. Slipping it across the table. Come on. Which is more important to Arsenal?
There's a side of me that wants to say the Premier League because of what's happened the last 3 seasons, but they've never won the Champions League. And if you could guarantee me that reality and never having to hear when I go to the Emirates or any other stadium in England or in Europe, Champions of Europe, you'll never sing that. Like that, I would love to get rid of that song. So I think I would probably say Champions League.
One of the things when I'm talking about Chelsea is I always mention that they were the first London club to win the Champions League, and then they went and won it again. And I think that's a huge problem for Arsenal fans. They hate the fact that Chelsea got there first.
With an asterisk, though, remember. Investigation.
Well, there's going to be a big asterisk next to Arsenal's name, whatever they win, I promise you.
Oh, for what?
And this is the reason. Arsenal fans don't understand why the general public, the neutrals, dislike them. There's an Arteta thing going on there. But I think the bigger reason is VAR has ruined football for a lot of people, and what we needed was to celebrate football. We have a feature on Monday nights on talkSPORT where we embrace the joy of football, magic moments we call it, and we talk about something magical that's happened over the weekend. It's embracing the joy of football, okay? But I don't think Arteta's Arsenal are actually doing that. They're not bringing the joy of football, and this is why. If Arsenal fans want a reason why the neutrals don't want them to win the title or win the Champions League, it's because they're not really entertaining us in a time when, because of VAR, we all needed some entertainment. They've gone the other way.
But that's the glory days of the Premier League, the throw-ins, the set pieces, the 1-0 match. That's what everyone's always bragged to me about in America. What we missed out on is the glory days when it would be a nice little scrap and people going at it in the physicality. Isn't that essentially very similar, parallel to the style that Arsenal's playing? Tell me, what is the difference from the time 30, 40 years ago where everyone talks about the glory days of the Premier League compared to the style that Arsenal's playing right now?
The difference is that we have VAR now. That has killed a lot of the entertainment for certainly match-going fans. I don't even enjoy watching games with VAR on TV. So I think that we needed something to hold on to. So Klopp's Liverpool, for example, gave us some real entertainment. There might be some who don't like Pep City and the way they play, but others really enjoy how they do it.
They're a tendency who give you moments, if not 90 minutes of greatness.
Whereas Arsenal's title, if they should go on and win it, is built on essentially fouling people and
come
it
on.
is. It's
No,
just
it's
rubbish,
not.
really.
It's built on the best defense in England. It's built on the best defense in Europe. And the fact of the matter is, if they were healthy, if Saka was healthy, we've seen the difference that Saka's made over the last couple of weeks. We would not be talking about Arsenal in terms of them being boring Arsenal, 1-0 to the Arsenal. They would be a team that we've seen over the last couple of years that plays an open style of play, that can score goals and can batter teams as they did against Fulham. And that's exactly what this team can do when they are healthy. Unfortunately, they have been, the second most injured team in the Premier League behind Spurs. So we haven't seen Arsenal to its full extent. But now we are. Now we're starting to see that. Yes, there still is a striker they need to add. There still is a left winger they need to add this summer. I'm not saying it's the greatest attack in Europe, nor the greatest attack in England, but it is an attack that is top 5 in Europe in goals scored. It's a very, somehow it's become a very underrated attack in terms of their ability to score goals because of the injuries and because how great defensively they are, which no one else can compare.
Yeah,
no one else in Europe can compare defensively to what Arsenal can do.
There's a lot of cope in all of this as well, though, because...
What's the cope? What type of league? We're in the Champions League final.
If we look at what happened with VAR in Scotland 2 days ago, we came on and we went, well, at a time when Scottish football is getting more eyes on it and more excitement about it amongst neutrals, amongst non-Scottish football fans than any other time in the last 25, 30 years, we are having to deal with something like this. And do you know what a lot of the Celtic fans said to me? Well, actually, it makes the game more exciting on Saturday, so how you're talking out both sides of your mouth. Like, come on. That's not the kind of excitement I want. I want to be...
We're enduring Arsenal. And listen, the Arsenal fans, you lot will always have a different view because it's your club, and I get that at all. And it's your club. You don't mind how they win. And Arsenal, after 22 years without the title and never winning the Champions League, they don't care how they win. And I get that totally. But I'm telling you, from a neutral point of view, Arsenal fans who don't understand why they're disliked, this is why they're disliked.
Oh, don't trust. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan too. So listen, I'm okay with being disliked. It is innate in my nature. But it makes this whole journey even more enjoyable because when everyone else is crying about the VAR situations or us holding in the box or the style of play that we play, I just drink your tears all day long. It's like a nice gray London day. There's nothing but tears dropping down, and I am just putting out a bucket out and just drinking all of the sadness that people feel because Arsenal's thriving. And unfortunately, it causes the other fan bases to look themselves in the mirror and realize and address the issues that they have within their own club, which is things that Chelsea finally need to do. Their fans need to finally do that. They're watching more Arsenal games than they are watching Chelsea matches. Say that much. Manchester City can't even fill out their whole stadium.
Oh, by the way, which Arsenal couldn't for years.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a title race. Potentially
not a
Pep's
race,
final
is it?
season.
It's done. And this is why they didn't turn up, actually, in midweek, the City fans. It's because they know what's going to happen. They don't want to be part of it. They don't want to see their team. And imagine they'd lost. That's basically it. Imagine they'd lost to Crystal Palace. They'd be watching their team gift the title to Arsenal.
But that's the part about being a fan. You're supporting. Win or lose a draw, you don't control the outcome. All you control is your support. And City did not show up to support their team.
This is the Arsenal fan telling us this.
And at the same time, I can talk about how much I've hated watching Arsenal all year. But if this summer we played that same horrible, grossy football in the heat of the USA, and Thomas Tuchel leads us to the promised land, then it's coming home, Master. It's coming home, baby. I want them to win the Champions League now because it gives us 4 more Champions League winners in the England squad. I've changed my mind on it entirely now.
3 lions on the shirt. Is Jules Rimet still gleaming?
Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, baby. Yes, it is. Look,
the ultimate bottlers, by the way.
Oh,
the ultimate bottlers.
How many World Cups have the USA won?
How many have they? I mean, I guess I'd usually would say in my lifetime, but I don't know if I could say that about yours.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, all the glory years and all the moments that I've seen from England, I haven't seen much.
I thought you were going to bring up 1950, which I wasn't around for, just when the USA beat England 1-0 in the World Cup with a goal scored by a man from Haiti, who I don't even think are invited to this World Cup.
Oh, they made this World Cup. Okay. They did make this World Cup.
No, I mean, the fans aren't invited.
Stop, I say. I've seen the visa issue, that's all.
Yeah.
We'll make some calls. We'll try and get this sorted out. We'll figure this out.
We were meant to get you in to talk about the Championship.
Yeah, sorry.
So just a very quick word on that. It's obviously been a huge topic on the show over the last few days, and the more and more comes out about it. In your mind, what is the ideal outcome when they meet on Tuesday for football, for the Championship, for all involved?
I can see why people would want Southampton kicked out of it. Okay, I get that totally. But to me, that feels a little bit harsh. And then I see Kim Hellberg's press conference, and he's genuinely emotional about it. And I don't think he's turning on those waterworks to try and persuade people. My only issue with kicking Southampton out of it is, yes, they've done wrong, but has it materially affected the outcome? You can't say for certain that it hasn't. But when I watched that first leg, Middlesbrough dominated, couldn't score a goal. And that's what Middlesbrough have done for the last 3 or 4 months. Mm-hmm. They've dominated games, created loads of chances, been unable to put the ball in the back of the net. That's why they've fallen out of automatic contention, got themselves into the playoffs. So I'm thinking it would be just too much if Southampton were kicked out of it. But actually, I think there should be a points deduction for Southampton that is applied this season that would take them out of the top 6. And by default, that means that Middlesbrough make the playoff final. I know there will be a lot of legal repercussions from this, but that was there's a lot of to-ing and fro-ing and what's right, what's wrong. But actually, I think the proper punishment is a points deduction that would take them out, say a 10-point deduction, takes them out of the playoff zone. How that affects other teams who might have got in the playoffs, they might be
Wrexham suddenly getting involved. Exactly. That's been my whole thing all week, is that at the end of the day, I want football decided on the pitch. And if we'd found this out in April or March and they'd had a points deduction and we'd had a different 4 teams in the playoffs and we'd seen 2 semi-finals and a final which were played between teams who hadn't spied on each other, then great. But there is another in the position we are in now. And I really feel Kieran Maguire came on and spoke about this week. We've seen for the first time with Leicester City the 2 leagues working together on a punishment, which was a big difference from what we've seen in the past. I do not see the Premier League saying, we'll accept Southampton, but they're going to start the season on minus 15 points. Well, they don't want that.
The competitive spirit of the Premier League, that wouldn't be helpful at all, I don't think. No. The other thing I would say is, I don't know if you've seen that footage of the Saints skipper, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, doing the binoculars.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And he was the guy who got in Luke Ayling's ear. And apparently,
but the fact that he did the binoculars thing shows me that they're not taking it seriously. He should be banned from the Championship playoff final. That should retrospectively happen for that very thing. He should be banned from it. That's your captain of your club. That's a representative of your club who's not taking that incident seriously. So he should be nowhere near Wembley Stadium. I would say that.
You talk about how this match is your favorite moment of the season. To see it, all this controversy clouding over this beautiful moment that you enjoy at the end of every year. How does that make you feel, knowing that we're not truly enjoying the spectacle that is the richest game in football?
I love a story, a news story, and this is a news story. So I'm kind of, the journalistic side of me is thinking, wow, this is fantastic. What a build it. It just adds more to that whole scenario. But then I think about just how dirty it is that Saints allegedly sent someone all the way up there to spy on Middlesbrough. And it just feels so wrong. Why can't you just go and win the thing by your own quality, your own brains, your own football knowledge, rather than having to spy on them? And it does feel feels a bit dirty. To answer your question, it feels a little bit wrong. It feels very wrong, actually. But it adds to the drama of that situation.
We have a situation in the next 10 or so days where Hearts could overcome everything of recent days and go and win at Parkhead and win the title, first team to do it in 41 years. Where Hull could win the Championship playoff final if it's played and the villain get sunk at the last moment. And where Arsenal could win 0 trophies this season and collapse out of everything, lose to PSG, lose to Man City, and just, everyone goes home. The hero wins and then we can go on to the World Cup.
We're the hero in this story. We are.
You're the hero in your story.
We're the hero in this story. Globally, just think how happy everyone would be.
Everyone.
Yeah,
the big thing, not you. The big thing that's levelled at Arsenal fans is that they are deluded, and here we have the personification of delusion right here.
I will drink a bucket of your tears after the Premier League title's been decided and after the double's done. But happy belated birthday.
I'm gonna bathe in your tears when they win nothing.
That's why Adrian doesn't have headphones in, so you're playing in Happy Birthday, the Call of the Game version, and he has no idea it's happening. So everyone on YouTube's enjoying it, and I'm not sure the dancing was going to be better if he could have heard the music.
And
anyway.
I've hit 30 years old. It's amazing.
It's unbelievable. So you don't remember any England titles. It's crazy. It's great to know.
It's true. I don't.
Thank you so much, Adrian, for joining us. The brilliant Adrian Durham joining us on the S Word.
So great.
Kwaku Afaru's in the studio coming up shortly. We'll talk about the actual football of the FA Cup final, and we'll look forward to a huge weekend in the Premier League as well.
Big name reaction from both sides of the pond. The S Word from talkSPORT. talkSPORT presents
The S Word.
Listen again and subscribe.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
And on the talkSPORT USA YouTube channel.
Producer Sam's angry at me because when Adrian Durham came on in the last segment, I didn't read him the sensational intro that Sam wrote for him. I'm going to read it now and he can play it back to him later because I've read it and it's really good, buddy. I'm really sorry. It says, now it's our great honour to introduce our next guest, an absolute bona fide legend around these parts. One of our favourite people, Chief Live Football anchor, 2023 ARIA's best speech presenter, author, dog and recent hedgehog cohabiter, Peterborough fan and fellow football nerd, Adrian Durham. There we go.
I did it. Smiling with so much joy.
I think we should also, when the guests come in, let's clap them in as well, as I really don't want to do with this next guest after what happened in the last few minutes. Look,
we just bonded over being Dallas Cowboys fans.
That's why it's been a pretty eventful season, fair to say, for Chelsea, sacking two managers, booted out of the Champions League, struggling to secure themselves European football, and somehow find themselves with a chance of a major trophy this weekend. It's chaos and trophies,
Another
as
season
it
of
always is at Chelsea. They face Manchester City this Saturday, live on talkSPORT.
There are never any guarantees in the FA Cup.
Wide to Neto, who's in the area, produces a cross. Enzo Fernandez is there, and he heads it home.
There's a sense that there's no accountability, that they have no consequences.
Yeah.
And we have got some good players. There's some genuinely world-class players there.
Palmer is striding up to the edge of the area, gets it back, and arrows it into the top corner.
There's always pressure. There's pressure to win every game, but this game as well, there's pressure. You have to accept that and embrace that.
And the Eagles have landed it. Crystal Palace win the FA Cup.
Every year we were there. Even last season we were in the final FA Cup.
Gonzalez again. Oh, one of the great Wembley semi-final goals.
You can win or lose, but at the end when you arrive at the last stage, just being there, fighting for the titles, that defines the club.
The first side in the rich history of this competition ever to make it through to 4 successive finals.
Well, I'm delighted to say that joining us in the studio now is talkSPORT presenter, content creator, and most importantly, massive Chelsea fan. Kwaku Afari in the house. Kwaku, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. Happy to make my debut on the S Word.
Oh, and sorry, and Cowboys fan.
Hey. He know we them boys.
Yeah, we them boys.
Yeah, all right, let's get out of the way. You've won a Super Bowl more recently than us, but you've also not been back to an NFC Championship game since. We'll do it. We'll go back and forth.
Anytime you want to come to Dallas for a game, let me know.
I'll hit you up.
I'll make sure you.
Where's my invite?
You're a Niners fan.
You're a hater.
A big hater.
A hater. You should hear him in the group chats, man. I get called delusional. I get called all the words.
Okay.
That's because you keep thinking you're going to win the Super Bowl and then barely making it into the divisional round.
I also got a spot in LA when we're in the Super Bowl.
There we go.
I got rolling out the red
This is
carpet.
our year.
I got you.
The Schottenheimer love is true in this household.
Also, you were also a pitchside reporter Club World Cup, weren't you?
I was there covering it.
I'm going to take 20 minutes off. Is that all right?
Watching my team be crowned world champions. It was an amazing experience.
I saw the coverage. You were doing tremendous. I was also a pitchside reporter for a smaller team, but I love what you did there. Big fan of your work. So
Thank you, man.
It's great to have you on the show.
Likewise.
Sorry,
Take away.
When most people walk out of the studios here, it's just a manufactured joke. So
We just kept talking. We didn't even notice.
sensational. Look, I've been bemoaning to an extent my excitement about the FA Cup final this weekend, just because after the magic of Crystal Palace last year, it's like it's back on a Saturday. It's 3:00. There's things the old football, purist in me should be super excited about it, and I don't know. All week we've talked about Chelsea, who the next manager's going to be, the turmoil in the Premier League. Man City's been all about, are they still in the title race? What's the feeling amongst Chelsea fans going into this weekend, considering it's the most down season you've had since Mourinho's second year, and then now it's could culminate in a trophy?
I'd say Clear Lake's first full season in the club, where we finished 12th, was probably the worst recent season. This season's not doing too much better. Obviously, we've got the solids of the FA Cup, but the general feeling around Chelsea fans is this is the finale, and the 2 league games after that we couldn't care less about, even though one of them is against Spurs. And I feel like there's a general malaise, there's a general mistrust towards the board, and I agree with your sentiment as well, Will, where it's the FA Cup should be a finale, right? In my head, it should be the end of the season, the FA Cup, and then the European Cup final. But the fact that the FA Cup is being played and there's still 2 more league games to be played, it takes away that sense of occasion. Man City have got their eyes on a bigger prize in the Premier League. And so it diminishes the FA Cup. And so when we talk about the loss of magic of the Cup, it's because of reasons like this. Yes, it's on Saturday. Yes, it's at 3 p.m. But there's a Premier League game the following day. There's a Premier League game on Tuesday. And so for me, as a Chelsea fan, it takes away the sense of occasion. But what I will acknowledge is that this is an opportunity to paper over the cracks. This has been a disaster of a season. Some of the results in recent weeks and months has been unacceptable. There's going to be a protest before the game at Wembley, on Wembley Way. There's going to be a protest before the game against Spurs, or during the game against Spurs. But nothing can kind of detract from the magic of winning a trophy. And so if Chelsea do lift silverware this weekend, Chelsea fans will be ecstatic.
It's funny because Callum McFarlane should be a great fairy tale story.
Yes.
6 games, managing in his first cup final, going up against the best to do it post Alex Ferguson. Like, there is so much to in theory love about that, and yet there's still this kind of overwhelming sense. Should he probably be there?
Yeah, there's a sense of it's not nepotism in the sense of the true sense of the word, but it feels like it, right? Like, who does he know? Why is he in the job? He was coaching the under-21s. He was coaching the youth team, and now he finds himself in the Chelsea hot seat for an FA Cup final. I think the fact that the odds shortened when Chelsea sacked Rosenior and brought in McFarlane tells you where we were at under Rosenior. Yeah. And so I think he's done an okay job since he's come in his first stint as Chelsea interim boss. He actually got a draw against City at the Etihad. And so he's done okay considering the tools he's been given to play with. But I look at this Chelsea team, and they can rise to a big occasion, but this is a Man City team that are extremely strong, are going for the treble. And on that massive pitch at Wembley, I think Chelsea are going to really struggle.
Well, he's probably the only Chelsea fan that knows any of their past results, because every Chelsea fan that I know in my group chats, whether it's here in the UK, whether it's in America, when Chelsea's on, I'm having to give them the lineups.
Yeah.
They are absolutely silent. In fact,
he just said they don't care about the last 2 games.
They don't. They haven't cared about the season for quite some time now.
One of those games, in theory, they could have been relegating Tottenham, and now Tottenham could stay up by getting points at Stamford Bridge. That should be a game that, as much as the FA Cup final is a huge thing, that Chelsea fans should definitely care about. And yet
they care more about Arsenal. I see them watch the Arsenal hate watch within Chelsea. It's much stronger than the love they have for Chelsea right now. I don't know if that's just my own sentiment, or are you sensing that as well?
I feel like the sentiment across the league, right? And we're talking about Arsenal again, but I've kind of gone the opposite way with it in terms of course, I do not want to see Arsenal succeed or win anything, but the hate's got too much. The weekend when people were saying it wasn't found right, it objectively was. So there is a sentiment of like everybody wanting to laugh at Arsenal, and the only solace you can take from the season that's been disastrous for most teams in the league, barring Arsenal, is them not winning anything. But for Chelsea, I feel like most of our anger is directed towards the board, and there is now a unified feeling amongst Chelsea fans that we want these guys out of the football club unless you're going to drastically change things. And so as much as the hate for Arsenal is there, I feel like Chelsea fans have got their eyes on a bigger prize, quote unquote, and that's changing the football club or changing the people at the top of the football club, because it's not working.
Is that going to happen though? I mean, it's what you've got. How many sporting directors do you have? Five or six that are involved in the decision making. Obviously, you've got an American older than Todd Bowley that likes to also put his fingers on some of the projects and some of the concepts. So
as American sports fans, those guys should go down with the ship. Like, it's the GM thing. Like, it's just, there's no way that 5,
but they're still there, and they're part of this process of whoever the next manager will be.
Yes, similar to the deal that De Zerbi did when he came in at Spurs. If he keeps him up, he's got a strong say in the sporting director next season. I feel like Xabi Alonso's currently the favourite for the Chelsea job. I think he will get the job, and I think part of the conditions, because he comes with a reputation, he comes with a bit of credit in the bank. He will not sign on that dotted line unless he gets a say of the people above him. And so I think things will change. I think you saw it in the statement from Chelsea when they sacked Rosenior. The final statement was, or the final sentence was, we're going to embark on a period of self-reflection. And they need to hold up a mirror to themselves.
That's the most American final line of a press release ever. What does that mean? It means nothing. It means it's cafe gratitude. It's nonsense.
Because is it really going to happen? Or then you just end up going to Areola or another one of these options? Because is Xabi Alonso truly going to get that clause where he gets to choose who his sporting director will be?
I don't think you get to choose. I think you'll have a say. What I will say is, I'll point to your football club. I remember 5-6 years ago, Arsenal fans storming the streets of North London protesting Kroenke's out, KSE out, right? And what really kind of changed things for Arsenal was not qualifying for the Champions League for numerous seasons. That really hit their pockets. That shocked them. Obviously, Chelsea are going to be out of the Champions League for just the season, I think. I think next season we'll finish in the top 4. But I think that will really shock these owners. And I feel like that will trigger a change. And if Arsenal can change, I think Chelsea can change.
I think that's a big shout to claim you're going to be top 4 next season.
Yeah.
I think Man City bouncing back. I think Arsenal should be back, still in contention. Man United, in theory, in this rebuild, but have been very good this year. Like top 4 is not... There's no guarantee with your current squad.
Premier League is top 5, let's be honest. Like, I don't want to assume things with a coefficient.
There is that.
The amount of money that's in this league. Like
top 6 maybe this year.
You have to keep assuming that it's going to be at least 5 teams getting
and I'm assuming it's top 5 for next season. So... correct my previous statement, qualifying for the Champions League. What I will say is you can look at history recently in the Premier League. Newcastle, anytime they haven't got European football, what happens? They qualify for the Champions League. Man United finished 15th last season. Not when the Europa League was a godsend, and now they're 3rd in the Premier League. I think Spurs win the Europa League and qualify for Europe, it killed them. It killed them. They had 10 extra games, and they're now fighting a relegation battle. I think juggling, playing Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and then Saturdays, Sundays, or whatever it is difficult.
You've got a squad of about 150 players. You should be able to juggle that better than anyone else.
£1 billion pounds.
Yeah, but not full of quality, guys. Not full of quality.
£1 billion mid-table that also this Aries management loan that you guys have as well. It feels like a ticking time bomb. Like it, from what I understand, the only way to get out of this debt-filled club that you guys have become now is to build a new stadium, which a lot of Chelsea fans are not on board with.
Or win.
Is it going to be enough?
Yeah, winning is enough. Winning is enough. Because I hate the fact that I'm bringing up Arsenal consistently.
Yeah. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it this time.
But I look to you guys, 21-22 season, finished 5th. And it wasn't a great end to the season. You probably should have finished in the top 4, but you finished 5th. The next summer, you signed Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko. Jesus is no longer a factor at Arsenal, and Zinchenko doesn't play for the football club anymore. And you went from finishing 5th to being on 50 points after 19 games within a summer. So football, we can talk about projects and needing time. It can change very quickly. I've just outlined the Man United finished 15th last season, and they finished 3rd this year, having beaten under Carrick, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man City. Football's a very quick process.
And Chelsea, right?
And yeah, okay.
I'm throwing you a bone there. Don't act like I'm putting you down
Chelsea,
there.
Real quick, 10 seconds. If you win the FA Cup, you'd be in Europa, right? Would you want that?
No. I don't want to be in European League. I don't want European football. But
all right, we're going to talk about that game. Are you okay to stick around?
Of course.
There we go.
We'll dive more into that.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that game yet. We haven't previewed the games for the weekend.
We just talked about Arsenal.
That's your fault. Can we just take him off a show one day next week? I don't care. Like, we can still pay him if you want. I just need to not talk Arsenal for 24 hours. Absolutely not. Sorry, I put my exec producer hat on and went, no. Listen, in this next hour, we will get to Masterdamus. That's what the feature's called. As we will do our predictions for the weekend. We will talk about that Scottish football clash as well. Huge game. It's Celtic against Hearts. And of course, we will actually talk about the football in the FA Cup final up next here on the S Word.
From the touchline to the terraces,
talkSPORT presents
the S Word.
S Word.
Featuring Will Gavin and Master Tesfasian.
And a squad of big-name contributors.
The S Word.
From talkSPORT.
It's featuring Will Gavin, featuring Master Tesfasian, and right now featuring Kwaku Afari in the studio, as well as we bring you build up to a massive weekend of football. I'm going to figure out which camera I'm looking at eventually, I promise. A massive weekend of football in the Premier League, in the FA Cup, across Europe, across the world. So much for us to get into in this final hour. We will do our predictions for the weekend in Masterdamus. We'll preview a bunch of those Premier League games. But we still need to talk about what's happening in the FA Cup on the pitch, because there's got to be some hope, Kwaku. As a Chelsea fan,
No. Let's put that like.
Yeah, sorry, do you want that?
That is. Do you know what it is?
You have zero hope that you, with 90 minutes, 11 men against 11 men on the field, a team of players that cost £1 billion, that you can't go out there, that you can't find a way to match their midfield, to play a low block, to hit them on the counter. Play some ugly Arsenal football.
Yeah.
It's fine for 90 minutes if you win a trophy.
I've got bad experiences at Wembley recently. Chelsea have lost 3 FA Cup finals in a row. 2020, lost against you lot. 2021, lost against Leicester. 2022, lost against Liverpool. And I'm not even including the League Cup finals that we've lost multiple.
Pens, yeah.
We've got a terrible...
I was at that Pens game. It's one of the worst games I've ever
It's again, Chelsea used to have an incredible record at Wembley, right? Won the first FA Cup back at the new Wembley, won the last one at the old Wembley. Like, we used to love going to Wembley, but this is just not a happy hunting ground for Chelsea right now. But what I will say is that City's record at Wembley recently hasn't been amazing. Lost last year in the final against Palace. Lost the year before against Man United. So they don't want to lose 3 in a row. But I just think if you look at the talents of the team, you look at the ability of the squads, we'll give it a good go. We'll raise our level, but ultimately we'll be on the losing side.
If Chelsea's able to find a way to lift that FA Cup trophy, how will they do it?
How they'll do it is for our superstar players. And I expect Reece James to be fit for that game. I expect Enzo Fernandez, who I've been torn on as a Chelsea player, I expect him to show up. I expect Cole Palmer to show up, right? Cole Palmer's a player that's not guaranteed to be on the plane to America. He's not definitely going to the World Cup, and he is a big game player. I've seen him turn up in finals before. I've seen him score in the final for the Euros for England. So I think our big game players are going to have to turn up, and we're going to have to be very solid.
10 months ago, he was playing in the Club World Cup final. We were talking about being one of the best players on the planet.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
The number 10, the center, the focal point of this England team pairing.
It was going to be how do you fit him and Jude Bellingham into the same team? Like, because they were both world class.
Jude is going to be back to his holding midfield position.
Exactly.
I like Jude as an 8, by the way. I think it's a shame for me that he's had to kind of move more forward for Real this season. But where has Cole Palmer gone so wrong in 10 months?
You know what it is? He's carrying an injury. So he was injured in the game against Manchester United earlier on in the season, injured his groin, was out for a few months, and he's never really fully recovered. I don't have the intel, but I believe he needs surgery. But there's a World Cup on the horizon, so there's so many players. Look at the way Saka's playing, right? And I know he's come to the fore in recent weeks, but he's carrying an injury. He probably needs surgery. But because you've had Cole Palmer's gone from playing the Euros to a full season, to the Club World Cup, to a full season, to potentially playing in the World Cup. This kid's knackered. This kid is absolutely knackered. And in a really bad season for Cole Palmer, this tells you how good of a player he is. He scored 9 league goals. Like, this is a terrible season for him, and he's probably going to end the season on double figures in Premier League goals. And so, yeah, he's fallen off a cliff a bit, but I expect him to recover next season. And this is, again, a strange kind of conundrum that I'm in terms of, obviously, I want him to go to the World Cup for his own personal development, but say he doesn't get selected. As a Chelsea fan, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Do you still... The jury still right now is up in the air for Cole Palmer. As you mentioned, last summer, everyone was unanimous. Now, people are questioning... the idea of the pen merchant, him trying to find goals in open play, that was an issue going into the second half last season as well. Do you still build this project, regardless of who the manager is at Chelsea? Do you still build this thing around Cole Palmer?
100%. 100%. His quality is I can't even question it. In his first full season as a starter in the Premier League, he scores 22 league goals. In his second season as a starter in the Premier League, he scores 15 league goals. This season, yeah, he's fallen off a cliff a little bit, but he still scored 9 league goals. Those numbers are incredible numbers for a player that's not a striker. And so I still build this project around him. And I look at player development, right? And it's not always linear. I think we were spoiled by Messi and Ronaldo saying that players are going to be on an upward trajectory for the whole of their career. Look at Ousmane Dembele, the current holder of the Ballon d'Or. Like, he is playing some of his best football, but he had 2 or 3 lean years where he wasn't playing amazing. So for Cole Palmer, I think you've got to trust the quality, you've got to trust the process, you've got to trust that 8-year contract as well. He ain't going anywhere. So yeah, we've got to build it around him.
Real quick, going back to the FA Cup, I know we teased this before we went to break. if Chelsea wins the FA Cup. Which
this if just keeps coming round and keeps coming round.
I like to play hypotheticals. If they win the FA Cup, they would qualify for Europa, which financially would not probably be the best idea, and probably squad purposes would not be the best idea. Would you want that?
I wouldn't. And again, it's a difficult one because Europa League has got more kind of prestige than the Conference League. But Juventus, was it last season or season before, paid to not be in the Conference League because it just made more financial sense. They didn't go over a certain financial threshold. Chelsea probably wouldn't take up that option qualifying for the Europa League. But for me, I would prefer us not to be in Europe. I think that reset, that kind of understanding who you really are, and giving whatever manager we bring in the time to work with squad throughout the week, I think is imperative and important. And the last time Chelsea won the Premier League, 16-17 under Antonio Conte, the last time we were actually in the title race, in fact, no European football. And we went on to do special things that season. So to answer your question, no, I don't want European football next season.
There you go.
Crazy conundrum, not rooting for your team at Wembley, but also kind of rooting for...
I know. The thing is, when the game starts, I'm going to be rooting for my team. I just don't love the European qualification. We don't deserve Europe. We've been moribund.
But what if you win the FA Cup and then actually you take an incredibly sensible approach of, right, we focus on the Premier League, and in Europe we basically play what Arsenal would play in the early rounds of the EFL Cup.
Yeah.
Like if you just go full under 23s team, like
we did that in Conference League last season and we won it. So yeah, I wouldn't mind that approach, but it's still travelling. The manager still has to go. The squad still has to. A lot of players still have to travel. And
imagine if the manager just signed it, like the assistant manager became like you're in charge of the Europa League.
I think the UEFA financial restrictions more than anything is
we're in financial trouble. You're right to bring it up. I know we didn't bring up manager. I don't know how much time we've got, but Xabi Alonso is currently the favourite for the Chelsea job, right?
I don't get it.
What, from his point of view?
Yeah, quite good. If you can get Xabi Alonso to be the Chelsea manager, that's a sensational outcome for you. I do not understand why you are going from a situation where you were really not given time at Real Madrid, where you really weren't given the keys to the city, where you had to deal with all of the egos and the mess, and why you're sitting there going, there's a chance that Liverpool job becomes available very soon. I can still live off my reputation from what I did at Bayer Leverkusen because people will write off what happened at Real Madrid. I think if he goes to Chelsea and has another nightmare because it's a situation which, as much as you want to say, he might get handed a contract which allows him to help pick the sporting director, and maybe they'll finally fix the problem, and maybe we'll see a Luis Enrique situation where he's actually allowed to take control. That would be wonderful for you. If he doesn't get that, he might not get another opportunity. I really don't see Chelsea as the right choice for a manager.
And I can completely understand that. Everything you said is correct. And I think the reason why it's taken a little while to get the deal over the line is that he's making sure his ducks in a row, and he's making sure he gets those guarantees. Because he's the manager who's got cachet, he's got credit in the bank, and I feel like this is an important step. What I would say is why it works for me as a Chelsea fan. He was at Leverkusen, where the squad that won the league were a young squad. They had some experienced players here and there. Xhaka was there, but it was a young squad, and he won the league with them. This is a very young Chelsea squad, the youngest team in the Premier League this season, the youngest squad in the Premier League history last season. And at Real Madrid, his experiences there was working with a hierarchy that don't allow him to have the autonomy and kind of make decisions for him. So the blend of experiences at Leverkusen and Real Madrid, it's what's going on at Chelsea right now. Young players, but with a board that are pretty interfering. And so for me, it works. It works. And with our players as well, 3 at the back, run that for 38 games in the league. And I'm not saying Chelsea title charge next season, but I might be unruly. I might be, come to me in August. I come on the show in August, I might be saying Chelsea title charge.
He's more optimistic with Xabi Alonso than he is this weekend in the FA Cup final.
Of course.
Amazing. Right, we mentioned Real Madrid there, and actually we do want to address this story because the twists and the turns just keep on coming. Well, we've only been a show for 10 days, right? Like, we started last Monday.
By the way, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it, sir. Like, and yet the one through line story, other than Arsenal, we won't talk about that anymore, has been the Real Housewives of Madrid, because it has been last night 2-0 winners over Oviedo. Gonzalo Garcia punishing that first half mistake. Jude Bellingham with the goal late on. Kylian Mbappe comes off the bench, 69th minute. Gets jeered and booed by his own fans. It's not like it's a mixed reaction. It's not like a full-blown boo, but it's a pretty negative reaction for a player who scored 41 goals this season. It's considered one of the very best in the world. He actually tees up Bellingham's goal as well, and there might have been a celebration afterwards where Bellingham has been, question marks have been over how much Bellingham was into it, and just gave him a little thumbs up and walked away. But he was asked at his press conference afterwards, and he said, I went on holiday with the permission of the club. I was not the only one. It's not the only time in my career I've been whistled. That's part of the job. Fans are not always happy, but they are always here. I'm 100% fine. I haven't played because for the coach, I've been the fourth striker, behind Franco, behind Vinny, and behind Gonzalo. I was ready to start. It's his decision. I've always respected it. I have no problem at all with Arbeloa. What I have to do is play better to get ahead of Vinny, ahead of Gonzalo, and ahead of Franco. All of that sounds great in theory. Apart from Arbeloa comes out afterwards and says, I didn't say any of that. Just comes out afterwards and says, I wish I had 4 strikers. I don't have 4 strikers. And I certainly didn't say anything like that to Mbappe. He tries to justify it, saying he probably didn't understand me. I don't really know what to tell you. I could never have told him I had a 4th striker. But it's clear that if I don't play him, he can't play. Like, how... Between the Florentino Perez press conference earlier this week, the interview he's done afterwards, Jose Mourinho back at the club, how do they find another way to ratchet this up another notch?
Tchouaméni and Valverde, it's honestly an insane institution. And again, they are the biggest football club in the world. Their history, you can't question it. But in terms of the day-to-day running of that football club and the entitlement of not just the president, but the players as well, it seems like the most toxic situation in football. It's insane. And like you said, and the fans...
More toxic than Chelsea.
Somehow.
Which is crazy.
Somehow.
Because Real Madrid fans are, to me, insane. People want to talk about Arsenal fans being insane. Real Madrid fans are insane. Will, you outlined he scores 41 goals this season.
2 years without a trophy, though.
2 seasons without a trophy. Goodness gracious, the sky is falling.
It's a different standard. I mean, Chelsea fans feel the same way. When a manager is not producing, they'll sack him in 3 or 4 months. It's a different standard that Real Madrid fans have, but it's a standard Florentino Perez set.
Yes.
Like, he is the one that created the Galacticos. He is the one that has wanted to have Real Madrid, especially in the last couple decades, rising above the norm and becoming the beacon of not just Spain, but also Europe. Now they're holding him to that same standard, the fans are, and he's kicking fans out because they've got Florentino Perez signs out. He's, arguing with fans at the match, calling for elections. Like, you can't be upset that the fans demand something that you said when the ultimate idea of Real Madrid is no one is bigger than the club.
Yeah, I understand that, but when Perez gets bored and he gets an itchy finger and he embarks on one of these Galacticos projects, it doesn't normally yield league titles. It doesn't. Look at the original Galacticos project when he brought in R9 and Beckham and Zidane. They didn't win much. They didn't win many league titles. I think they won 1 league title. Like, you think about the second phase of the Galacticos project when they brought in Ronaldo and Kaká and Benzema. Yeah, they won a load of Champions League, but in terms of league titles, they weren't prolific. Barcelona will still win the majority of league titles. And then this final phase of it, which I think will be final phase. I think Perez is not long for the job. It's clearly not worked. You look at Kylian Mbappe, who objectively is one of the greatest footballers of all time. I'm saying it already, of all time. But he's come into a Real Madrid side who just won the Champions League and have got nowhere near it.
It might be one of the greatest footballers of all time in theory on the field when you watch him, but goes to PSG, is a headache. They don't win anything, certainly not the Champions League. Goes to Real Madrid, seems to be a headache. The players don't seem to be getting along with him. He's clearly a headache for his manager. And I want to know, for you, from a unique perspective, because we've given our opinions on this all week.
Yeah.
You've seen Jose Mourinho at his very best.
Yes.
You've seen him at the height of the special one. And you've also seen him at his absolute very worst. Is there any world where this post that era Chelsea Mourinho, post Benfica Mourinho, post everything else can go in there and go, I'm the man to reset this midfield, to figure out our problems at fullback, to sort out Kylian Mbappe, get him and Vinny playing in the same team? Is there a world in which Jose Mourinho, with that iron fist, can actually go in there and make it work?
He's run previous football clubs with an iron fist, but he needs to purchase a velvet glove because it needs to be a little bit softer than his approach at a recent. Again, this is Jose Mourinho. He's my favourite person in the history of football. Like, he shaped the way that I kind of view football, whether that's right or wrong.
He changed a lot, though.
Yeah, it probably does. It probably does. But
is that like his Michael Irvin moment?
Yeah.
I said Michael Irvin was my childhood hero. I said it makes so much sense. Jose Mourinho.
You won't delve too much into why that makes so much sense. But again, I'm just
surrounding myself with the wrong people. Is that what's happened?
Yeah, that's where it stands for something else now.
This stage, Jose Mourinho, with the issues that Benfica had with Vinicius Jr., the kind of autocratic nature of his management style, I don't see it working. These guys need a laissez-faire manager that's going to sit back and let them do them, but also interfere interfere and intervene when he has to, a la Ancelotti, a la Zidane. Mourinho's not that.
Ancelotti just signed till 2030 with Brazil. I know you think that the English are obsessed with Luis Enrique, but I'm citing him I'm exciting him not as the manager, but I'm citing him as the situation that he went into at PSG, which is that was as colossal of a mess it could possibly be, post Pochettino, post everything else. And he went in and was like, well, if I'm coming in, I'm running it. It's what you want to happen with Xabi Alonso.
100%.
I just don't... They need a guy who can come in and do that, but also be able to communicate with other human beings without needing them to think that he's a god. And I feel like Jose Mourinho is not that guy.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. And you were at the Club World Cup. So Xabi Alonso comes on, and the sentiment from Real Madrid fans is, we got to put Vinny in check. I don't know if that's sentiment from the fans, from the board. That was like the common unanimous idea. Xabi Alonso has to come in and keep Vinny in check to get the best out of him. And he went with that disciplinarian, you talk about the iron fist perspective, instead of taking the velvet gloves that we saw Carlo Ancelotti use with Vinny Jr. and getting the best out of him. Xabi came in with that mindset, and it quickly backfired on him because Vinny Jr. had the respect of everyone in the locker room outside of maybe Mbappe, give or take. And we saw once he turned on Vinny and that El Clasico moment where he took him off despite Vinny playing a brilliant match and his frustrations that he had there, everything went downhill from there. And so I thought the part that you mentioned about Jose Mourinho needing the velvet gloves, you have to build that relationship with Vinny.
Yes.
Once you get Vinny on board, whoever the next manager is Real Madrid, I think everything else will fall in line.
But you also know about player power better than anyone else
100%.
because as much as this is Real Madrid are maybe the best global example of this, there is no team more at fault of it than Chelsea from a perspective of if a worm starts to turn against a manager, if you get that dressing room go against you, and it doesn't matter if it was Terry and Lampard and all those guys then, and it doesn't matter if it's been in the last 5 years.
Liam Rosenior.
Yeah. but exactly, Liam Rosenior lost them before he had them. Like
you invoked the name of Luis Enrique, and it's real interesting what's gone on at PSG, and it's been almost a referendum of his time there. He's been incredibly successful, but remember PSG in the group phase last year, they lost to you guys. Dembele was dropped for that game because he was late to training, and the PSG players allegedly pulled him aside and said, we think that was a little bit too harsh, and he softened his approach and became more democratic, and he's got to tune out these players. And what you've seen as well is that Vinny getting annoyed because he's been substituted. Dembele in the semi-final of the Champions League second leg was substituted in the 65th minute, the Ballon d'Or holder, and he didn't say boo. He tapped his teammates on the back, and he was happy to deal with it. That's what you need to get to at football club. And I think Jose Mourinho's style doesn't allow him to kind of build that relationship with players. And so if the game requires Vinny to be substituted in the 65th minute, what's Vinny going to do? He's going to throw a tantrum. Same as Mbappe. Jose Mourinho hasn't got a management style to maybe adapt and assess the situation and react accordingly. And it's going to be an unmitigated disaster.
Jose Mourinho's us versus the world mentality that he loves to fester in teams doesn't work when it's us versus the world, but also against each other. And that is absolutely what Real Madrid.
It's us versus the world, then it's a certain number of players, and it ends up being me versus everyone else.
It's going to be a disaster. I love Jose, but at this stage in his career, I think it's more of a reflection on Real Madrid that they're going back to Jose Mourinho than it is on him. He's going to take the job, of course, but the fact that he's there for a second stint, I don't understand it.
Real quick, 10 seconds. Is there any manager that can save this problem? The Real Madrid problem?
I think Zidane's he's headed for the France job after the World Cup, but Zidane could come in and do that job. He immediately garners respect in the dressing room, got that laissez-faire kind of hands-off approach, but also is a great tactical manager. He showed it in his second stint when he won the league title with them in a very different way to the three-peat of Champions League.
But someone available, Jurgen Klopp, Deschamps, who can...
Jurgen Klopp, stay away from that. Jurgen Klopp, I've got my own opinions of Jurgen Klopp. You portrayed yourself to be the man of the people, and then you took that dodgy job at Red Bull, and then you're going to go to Real Madrid. I don't think it aligns with the brand. I think stay away from that job, Jurgen Klopp, personally.
We love your brand, though.
I love the brand.
Your brand is strong.
Your brand is strong. Just stay away from the Real Madrid job, personally.
Kweku's brand is strong.
Oh, my job. My brand. Oh, yeah, I'll take that.
Thank you for coming on.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
I want to get more into that Jurgen Klopp conversation. Kweku is getting back in studio because we are getting into that at some point. That's some spicy off-season content for you with the S word. Kweku, thank you so much, brother. Brilliant Kweku Fire. We go and follow him everywhere that he is because he is sensational. You can actually, when our show's finished at 3 o'clock, power down YouTube, wait for our clips to go up, and pop over to talkSPORT 2 and go and listen to him on the social, because he's absolutely sensational. Myself and Master are going to be here for another 40 minutes or so, though, and coming up across that time, we are going to be looking forward to the action in the Premier League. We'll be predicting the FA Cup final. We're talking the Scottish Premiership as well. Hearts Celtic, Masterdamus on the way, and there are a few teams who are already languishing, who are already slapping on that suntan lotion, got the sunnies on.
Ibiza time, baby.
Maybe on the beach a little.
The S Word with Will Gavin and Master Tesfacion
from talkSPORT.
Words here. Just 2 hours of full-on football dialogue.
Every day.
talkSPORT presents
The S Word.
It's time for redemption time, baby. It's time for Masterdamus and for me to, after my terrible performance last week,
redemption.
Pull myself up by this. Yeah, it's only week.
Is this a Drake? Is this a Drake reference? Redemption is on my mind.
Oh no!
When you think about me.
Yeah. Okay. Gabs on the other side.
You
of
like
the
that,
glass,
Gabs?
on the buttons is. I mean, I'll just tell you, he believes Drake's the greatest recording artist.
You should have saw the joy in Gab's face. Oh, no, he'll give applause. He's giving more applause to himself than he has for you. 10 episodes in.
Nothing different there by any stretch of the imagination. Time for me to get some redemption coming up shortly as we'll do Masterdamus and look forward to the 5 biggest games of the weekend. We're going to preview some of the action across the Premier League and we're going to talk a little bit of World Cup rosters as well to get it right for our American friends, because the big one, France's squad, was announced. We've had Belgium's as well recently.
Just announced on the show.
Little dark horse action from Belgium maybe, but you know.
They're in an easy group, but there's a dark horse player that I have an interesting thought for that I'll say for later.
Oh, okay. But there's some drama. There's some drama with France. Of course there is. So we'll get into that as well. But I just want to tell you a little bit of breaking news. Just come through for me here, and very relevant to our listeners and our viewers over in the US of A. We can say talkSPORT understand that Casemiro is close to agreeing to terms with Inter Miami. LA Galaxy haven't given up entirely on it, but are aware the Brazilian is prioritising talks with Miami. The situation is complicated by the MLS's financial rules, but Inter are optimistic they'll find a solution and have said they're in no rush because he won't move imminently due to the end of the season and the World Cup. So there you go. We've talked about this with Mike Ryan Ruiz. We had this, they think that he is the tone setter that they desperately need at Inter Miami. It sounds like he's picking East Coast over West.
He is, and it's a team that could desperately use his help because they have conceded, 24 goals so far this season? And even though they're sitting second in the Eastern Conference at this point, it's very clear this is not a team that can hold a clean sheet. So Casemiro bringing him in, helping fortify the midfield, a squad that has been stretched thin so far to start the season. It was also stretched thin last year. It's a great addition for Inter Miami. But once again, I question the competitive balance within MLS. When all of these great players continue to go to Inter Miami, what does that leave for the rest of us?
A few other notes just to mention as well. A few people getting in touch on the chat, and we've been ignoring it because I don't look at YouTube during the show. I'm sorry. J Bell says, up the Saints. I'm assuming he means Southampton. Awkward on this show of all shows. SM's back in touch saying loving the show. Sahel says, let's get this on talkSPORT too. Listen, Sahel, we love our home on YouTube. And let me tell you, there's some exciting news coming over the coming weeks about where else you're going to be able to find us other than YouTube. Don't get me wrong. There's some cool stuff coming. talkSPORT 2 is, another home that I love dearly.
Right here.
I have more than one child.
Right there. Right there.
There's in my heart. talkSPORT 2, the NFL, and now the S word, plus my two actual children. Yes. Why do you think I've got 4? What's the... 2 kids and 2... Yeah,
is Sam another one? Sam and
I think Sam Harris is including himself as one of my children, which definitely could be the case.
Do you have a black child now?
Yeah. My brother from another mother is how I like to think of you, rather than my black child. But remind me...
I will take both.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We haven't actually talked about how we're doing this. Are we doing a little bit of a preview? We're going straight to Masterdamus?
Last time we had Sam come in,
what's the vibe?
We don't have the luxury of having Sam coming in right now.
I think we should just do Masterdamus. That's what I think we should do personally. And then if there's any of the games we miss, then we miss those games. So let's start off with the fact that tonight, live on talkSPORT, in a game that could have real impact, particularly for the teams in 6th place this year, Liverpool travel to Aston Villa for a 6-pointer. Just maybe not for them.
It's finished here at Turf Moor. Burnley 2, Aston Villa 2.
They're not performing in the Premier League, defensively very poor. There's a lot to play for Bournemouth and Brighton, and Aston Villa and Liverpool both still probably need one more win.
We expected at the beginning to finish the season in the top 5 is really something fantastic.
Rappenberg gets a shot away and finds the top corner with a curling effort, taking just 5 minutes for Liverpool to take the lead. And they've done so in stunning style.
In away games against teams where we usually don't drop points, and that has this season happened far too many times after playing in Europe, and that's one of the reasons why we have not qualified yet.
So Aston Villa, Liverpool tonight, live on talkSPORT. And listen, this is a huge game in terms of the Premier League. 2 top 5 teams, a team in a European final, a team potentially could still finish top 3, and actually huge implications in terms of the Premier League table, because if Liverpool can win today, then you're pretty much guaranteed that Villa are going to finish in 5th, which then if they win the Europa League next Wednesday, suddenly the team in 6th, they are getting into the Champions League. That has a huge impact on Bournemouth, has a huge impact on Brighton, has a huge impact on Brentford even still, although they're now 4 points adrift of the other surging South Coast team. And then from a Villa perspective, I mean, get a win here, pull clear of Liverpool, you're ruining it for all those guys. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on this game tonight, more so than there would normally be. So it will be the first game as we bring in Sam Harris.
Big Sam. Oh, yeah, we got to do applause. We're doing applause. Real applause along with the applause track, Gavs.
Master came out of the trap strong last week. Yes. A little 2-0 Barcelona win. Saved it for me a little bit. as we get our second ever instalment of Masterdamus.
Masterdamus. Masterdamus.
Oi! Doesn't that really good looking host support two teams, bruv?
Who made that?
I only have one team. Sorry, you didn't mean me. Sam Harris is in the house. Sam, how are you, brother?
I'm very well. So I got in nice and early today to create that jingle. And I had a
He'd
couple
been bigging it up all day long, and what I didn't expect was that he was going to just praise his own looks.
I didn't know that either. It sounded like a Simpsons Halloween episode theme track.
That's kind of what I was going for. But yeah, it was a pretty poor start for you last week, Will.
All right, mate.
But you saved it. Master went out the trap strong, to be fair, as you mentioned. That you got the correct score for one of them, and that can save you this week, Will. So don't be too downhearted.
It's the first week. We're doing this for the whole World Cup. We're doing it every day.
You don't want to let him get too far ahead.
Yeah.
It's 6-3 as it stands.
I'm not sweating it.
You're not?
It's an Arsenal fan over here. He'll give up a lead like nobody's business.
Well, we'll start with the big game tonight, as you just mentioned before we came to Masterdamus. Liverpool travelling down to Aston Villa. Master, as a leader, you can go first. How do you see this game going?
This one's going to be interesting. Going to Villa, a team that hasn't really brought the strongest of results as of late. Only one win in their last 5. Liverpool hasn't looked great either. But Salah's supposed to be coming back in a couple minutes. I think Isak's trying to get in World Cup form as well. I think Liverpool find a way. I'll go 2-1 Liverpool.
William?
I was kind of feeling a Liverpool win as well, and I'll tell you for why, because I feel like it's the Unai Emery prioritising the Europa League thing, right? And as much as they've been gifted the fact that they are playing on Friday, a rarity that the Premier League actually adapts to allowing a team some success in Europe. And I do feel like we'll see some rotation, and we saw what happened last time. We saw some rotation from this Villa team. But it's fair to say that whilst not already guaranteed Champions League football yet, whilst not guaranteed 4th place yet, there's a little bit of a feeling that Arne Slot's boys are on the beach.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about. I know. But a lot of them are playing for the World Cup.
Draw.
I might be feeling a little draw here. I didn't pick a single draw last week.
You didn't, and I nailed it. I nailed you with the draws.
And maybe I'm in my own head about that. And maybe that's just thrown a spanner in the works. What did you go? You went 2-1 Liverpool, didn't you?
2-1 Liverpool.
That was what I was thinking. Dang it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing to copy the Masterdamus. Let's be honest.
I'm going to take a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw.
I don't like it.
1-1 draw.
But I'm going to...
I was tempted with the
draw. This is what's happened. I'm zigging when he's zagging just
on.
because I'm in my own head.
You don't have to chase points right
That's
now.
the last one.
Next
I'm not
up.
chasing.
Next up. And you get to go first this time, Will.
I'm done.
The small matter of the FA Cup final. How do you see this going?
Yeah, I mean, Man City are winning it. It's by how many is the question. As much as I'm saying Man City are winning it, it's by how much is the question. I do feel like all FA Cup finals are a little tight. It's very rare that we see. Somebody cited that Arsenal-Aston Villa game when Jack Wilshere was on breakfast this morning and they went 4-0 up in the first 60 minutes. Like, those things are a rarity.
That was beautiful.
I'm going to say that City will win this 2-0.
Master, what say you?
I'm also going with City 3-1.
3-1. Now, the game that's been on everyone's list.
Giving Chelsea a goal is nice.
Well, that is, yeah. Quaker will be very happy.
You're welcome. Maybe we'll get another João Pedro bicycle kick.
Yes. Now, the game for me, the game of the weekend, Hearts Celtic. We've been speaking about it the last couple of days. Brilliant interview with Shaban and Mark that's gone viral-ish, if we can call it that yet.
It did.
I think so. Mark Donaldson, by the way, and look, we have to. I'll send this to Lucy to see if she can flash it up on screen in a bit. He sent me the funniest pair of screenshots I've ever seen in my life, which is the moment before Shaban says she's convinced it's a Stonewall penalty, and the moment afterwards, where Mark's face is, "I love Shaban. She's a friend of mine. I'm really glad to be on the show with her." To just utter. I don't know if it's disgust. I don't know if it's disbelief. I don't know if it's... He could not understand how anyone could believe that would be their opinion on it. And listen, it sent it down to this final game this weekend. It sent it to a position of... They have to get a result. A draw will do it. A win, obviously, would seal it emphatically.
Mark was not a believer, are you?
But it's Parkhead. It's Celtic. It's years of hurt. I so desperately want it to happen. I want to bleed maroon this weekend. I'm taking a Celtic 2-0 win.
Wow. Master.
The game is more important than the romanticism to me.
Is it?
No, I tell you what. 12:30 tomorrow, I'm going to be a full-blown Jambo. But right now, I'm going to say Celtic are going to win.
Here's what I'll say. And Mark said it too. They have not beaten Hearts so far this season. And we saw from Borough, once you feel like you have been done wrong, you come out the gates swinging. I don't know if that's going to be enough for Hearts to win at Celtic, but I think it's enough to get a draw.
Whoa.
I'm going 2-2. Celtic has not had a clean sheet.
Champions.
Celtic has not had a clean sheet at all this season, so I expect a lot of goals. I expect a lot of fireworks, and ultimately, Hearts gets the job done with the draw.
Next up, a game that I will be watching from behind the sofa. West Ham travel up to Newcastle in a
I just say we're not doing Arsenal until Monday.
Right. And for that, Master, you can go first.
West Ham going up to Newcastle. You would think Newcastle's on the beach, but Bruno Guimaraes has come back, and I think they're trying to finish the season strong, already committing and backing Eddie Howe. This one's going to be a tough one for West Ham. And to be quite honest, I don't know if they get the result. So
it's okay, you can say it.
I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle.
William?
I think there's another twist in the tail. I don't think this relegation battle is done. I think West Ham need to pick themselves up after that performance last week, dust themselves down against a Newcastle team sitting in 13th in the table. Poor form this year. We think Eddie Howe's going to be in charge in August, but what would a home defeat do for the possibility that they make a change this summer? And you know who's looking pretty good right now? Is a man who should have scored last Sunday, a man who Eddie Howe knows very well from his time at Bournemouth, a man who knows very well from his time at Newcastle as well. You start Callum Wilson in this game, he's going to get a goal. It's going to be Newcastle 1, West Ham 1.
I love that. Thank you very much.
I thought you weren't the romantic type.
Oh, I'm back. Do you know what? I want to rewind the clock 5 minutes and pick a Hearts draw or I'm
not too late.
I'm angry at myself.
Too late.
I am the adjudicator.
At myself.
So
no, I'm not. I know. I'm not saying I want that to actually happen. I'm saying in my heart of hearts.
We all know you.
My heart of hearts are Midlothian. I want that to happen. I'm sorry. You can hit me with a boo for that one. That's deserved.
You're the helpless romantic. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, I'm British. I am Hugh Grant at the steps in the soaking rain, crying into my hanky, just begging the footballing
You've got a bit of Hugh Grant about you.
Just,
Did I ever told you that?
Said nobody ever. Just begging the footballing gods to deliver me just one crumb of solace this weekend, and that can come in the form of Hearts winning this SPL. It could come in the form of
a West Ham draw.
It could come in the form of Arsenal
Sarah's a lucky lady
on Monday night.
At the Cinderella, the shoe fits. Cinderella comes in with a 1-1 draw.
Right, let's wrap this up with the fifth game. There's a couple to choose from, and we've decided to go with Leeds Brighton. Brighton are still vying for European football. Do you reckon they're going to get something from this, Will?
I think Leeds put in a surprisingly solid performance at Tottenham, considering they had just had a really great run of results, but they were going against a Tottenham team who are just collapsed like a flower in a cupboard at home. Brighton have to win this game if they're going to have a chance at Champions League football, and they're already going to know the result from Friday night when they do. If Liverpool get a result against Villa, they're going to go into this knowing that a win could put them in really good stead with Bournemouth having to play City on Tuesday night. Everyone's really excited about Bournemouth City being the possibility of where Man City drop points. It's like, I say Arsenal fans are excited, everyone else is sitting around making predictions about like that's where they think the title's going to be won and lost, right? I think you look at that and say, City are going to have to win if they want to win the Premier League. I expect Bournemouth to at least drop points there. We could get Champions League football on the South Coast. Hustler has done a sensational job this year. They're going to go to Leeds, who are more on the beach than the team that are based there, and they're going to go and get themselves a victory. I'm going 2-0 Brighton.
Master, finish us off.
I love the form that Brighton's in right now. I called it, and I told you Leeds would put up a good performance. And they did. But I agree with you. Despite the fact that this will be the last home game that they have this season, it'll be a nice celebration for the fans, knowing that they're safe and they can enjoy this. The players will get to enjoy this. But Brighton's out for something more. And then, despite the fact that Matoma injured his hamstring, will not be available for this one, I still think the quality that Brighton has, the depth that they have, it'll be a fun game. I think it's going to be an open game. I think it'll be a lot of fun for the neutral. But ultimately, Brighton pulls away. I feel like it's redundant, but I'll go on another 2-1 here. Because the other part I'm concerned, you got Calvert-Lewin, who's trying to fight to make it to England, and he's had a great season as well. I think he'll be up for it, and I think other players on Leeds will be up for it. They have some good depth, so even some of the reserves that come in, if there is rotation, they'll come in, they'll put in a good fight.
It's going to be a good game to watch.
I think it'll be a good game for the neutral.
I hope so. It's a weird weekend, right? Yeah. West Ham is obviously the most significant game in the either relegation or the title race, right? The two things that we're paying close attention to. If Villa win tonight, then the Brighton game, the Brentford game, the Bournemouth game, all happening this weekend. I know Bournemouth's Tuesday, but you know what I mean. All suddenly become maybe not redundant, but pretty close to. So we need some fun this weekend.
Yeah, we do.
The FA Cup final needs to be a better game than an FA Cup final might normally be between the Asterix FCs, right? We need some. if Hearts are not going to deliver us joy on Saturday lunchtime, and come on the Jambos, then we are gonna we're gonna find joy somewhere, and it's got to be in the quality of football. I think this game delivers better quality of football.
Well, good luck to you both, gentlemen. I'll see you next Friday.
Thank you, you handsome, two-team loving.
Be careful with the next word.
Son of a gun.
That's the S word I was looking for.
Masterdamus, I mean, you should get involved in that on the chat. Thanks to Dom, who gets in touch, says how much he's enjoying the show. We'd love to get your opinion on any of the topics that we are covering in today's show. So you can get in touch with us on all the wonderful locations there, doing my full Hulk Hogan, at talkSPORT S Word, on Instagram, on X, and on YouTube as well. We've had a fun show already with the legend that's Adrian Durham joining us in the studio, with the legend that's Kwaku Afaro joining us in the studio as well. So we'll have some clips and some content coming up from those. But we'll round things off. We might touch on a bit more from the weekend. But first and foremost, those World Cup rosters are starting to ping out. England's next week. We wait on the US at some point. But controversy with France. I'm not having that. Go to the break. Go to the break.
Bringing all the biggest football debates stateside. The S Word from talkSPORT.
people who love football in North America. And I mean the proper kind, where you only use your feet.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
All right, last bit of the show of the week. Friday is here, Summer Friday. We'll be heading upstairs. We'll be cracking open a cold one shortly. I hope you'll be doing the same wherever you are in the world. Although if you are joining us, as many of you are from the US of A, it's only nearly 10 a.m. on the East Coast. Only nearly 8 a.m. Maybe wait a few hours.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It is 5 o'clock somewhere. Nearly 5 o'clock here in the UK. You are watching the S Word on the S Word YouTube channel and here on the talkSPORT YouTube channel as well. I'm Will Gavin, Master Test Facts alongside me. Had a real fun show today with so much football to preview over the weekend, but there were a couple of big stories we didn't get a chance to get to, and I want to talk about the French national squad. Have we got La Marseillaise? No, we don't. Okay, I asked him for it in the break and he kind of nodded at me and gave me a thumbs up, and then it's not there. Let's make sure we've got all the national anthems for as we get into the World Cup, right? Brilliant.
There's only one that matters, baby. And that bleeds red, white, and blue, baby. Them stars and stripes.
The red, white, and blue of France, as we.
That's why I said the stars and stripes afterward, baby. America.
Listen, we did get the France squad announced overnight ahead of the World Cup. The big stories: Real Madrid midfielder Eduardo Camavinga left out of the squad, as was Paris Saint-Germain keeper Lucas Chevalier. Called up into their play, well, into Camavinga's place. We saw in midfield there's some big changes in midfield, but Jean-Philippe Mateta making the team, preferred to Randall Cole Muani. We saw that Ligue 1's top goal scorer Esteban Laporte miss out again. I mean, yet to be capped for France. Let's start with Camavinga, right? Part of the French squad that finished runner-up in 2022, was left out by Didier Deschamps, who spoke after the announcement, said he's had a difficult season, he played less, he's had injuries. Yes, it's true he's a player who came in very early with us, still a young player, but I had choices to make. The squad structures had to be a certain evenness, and I can understand and imagine his enormous disappointment. I mean, when you consider that a player like Adrian Rabiot has made it into this team, he's had an okay domestic season in Italy, but Camavinga, there is an argument for quality over form potentially there.
There is, and Deschamps has kind of shown in a lot of these international competitions that he has preferred Rabiot over Camavinga, and it's just unfortunate. Camavinga hasn't had the greatest of seasons. His confidence has been shot in all the turmoil that has happened at Real Madrid. He has been, unfortunately, one of the casualties, unfortunately, of the way the season has gone. He just hasn't been himself, and this is coming from someone that's a huge Camavinga fan. I was there along the journey watching Real Madrid during that 2022 Champions League run when he was tremendous, and Rodrigo off the bench as super subs, and you saw the impact that they had leading into the World Cup and seeing what he can do as a difference maker. But we also saw the other side of him, particularly in that quarterfinals against Bayern Munich, second leg, getting those 2 cheap yellow cards, whether you think they were deserved or not, whether the official knew that Camavinga had a yellow card or not. These were some of the boneheaded decisions and unfortunate mistakes that Camavinga has made all throughout the season. So it's tough not to see him on there. And it leads to this France team is one of the favorites, we'll say, for this World Cup. Between them and Spain, you can split hairs in terms of which is the actual favorite for this World Cup.
Spain have slightly edged it in the odds, just so you know. Spain are about 5-1, France about 6-1. Obviously, I'm looking at an odds checker from the UK, so England are in there in amongst that.
No, but the odds are. I mean, anybody loves to take England's money, so money be green, as they once said on the wire. So if you want to do that, there's a reason why the Cowboys always have great odds too. So, and as stacked as this team is, particularly up top, of course, we talk about the Mbappe, Olise, Mateta, well-deserving, Dembele, Doué. It's just rich with talent among the forwards.
I'm Magnus Ekliush as well making this team.
Yes.
Out of Monaco. It's just sensational year for him. A lot of talk about he could move to Liverpool this summer. 60 million euros apparently on the table already. That could jump 20 million euro if he has a good summer, and he very well could feature for this team. I keep thinking this every time we get to these major tournaments. There's always these players that emerge, always these players that end up signing big contracts because they have a brilliant World Cup or whatever it might be. We're going to have the longest, hottest, most games in a World Cup ever. That's opportunity. That is a chance to put yourself on a world stage and say, here I am.
In this World Cup more than ever, the more games, more matches, the longest World Cup. Yes, depth is going to matter. And that is a bit of my concern with France. Because when I look at this midfield with N'Golo Kante, who's getting older, playing in Fenerbahce. Before that, he was playing in Saudi. He has stepped up in big competitions, obviously, despite the fact that he has not played in the top 5 league. But at this point now, he is 35 years old. Out in that sun, how will he fare? And you got with him Kone, you mentioned Rabiot, also a bit older, Chouamini, and you got Zaire Emery, 2 young legs that they can rely on. And then Cherki's listed as a forward, but you imagine he'll get mixed in with the midfields as well. Is that enough midfield depth for France to withstand this long tournament and some of the conditions in which they'll be dealing with, as you mentioned, playing in New Jersey, New York, playing in Philadelphia, playing in Foxborough, all 3 open stadiums in the group stage, and it will be sweltering hot. It will be humid. They will be dealing with the conditions. The midfield depth is one concern I have. Also, what they're going to do at fullback. Their fullback situation, Lucas Hernandez, Teo Hernandez, they both made it. Are they going to go with the situation? Does Konate maybe slide in as one of the fullbacks? Jules Koundé could be an option, but has he been in the best of form with Barcelona? It's a question to be had. Lacroix, Saliba, Upamecano, I think those are solid options. Even with Upamecano, he can be hit or miss, but I think those are 3 solid center back options that you have. And outside of that, Malo Gusto and Luka Dean, are those reliable guys? Yes, they can contribute, particularly Gusto being on the front foot, but is that someone defensively that can help shore up when you're making a deep run and you have to face some of the best wingers in the world, like a Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal? If they happen to face against Spain,
that's the question.
There's some trouble there.
Are you going to be on the front foot team? You listed off that absolutely sensational front line that they are going to be putting out there. Is this a World Cup where you can be? I know we've talked a lot about the Heat in the last 2 days. Love that. I know it's a World Cup where we have to. I'm just about to talk negatively about them though. Let's bring it down and let's have a little boost at the end.
Bring back the patriotism.
Now I feel like I'm killing them.
Allez le bleu.
Can you be a team which puts yourself on the front foot for 90 minutes, that presses, that gets up there, that gets in your face and goes and tries and scores, a classic Brazil, we're going to score 4 if you score 3 kind of thing? I just don't know that World Cup suits that kind of team. I'm not going to be surprised at all if this World Cup comes down to, I know we can poke and make fun about our jokes about the England team, but Tuchel and his experience and that kind of ability to play possession football and find a moment of magic, is it going to be a team like that? You're big on Portugal, for
France
example.
Can do that too, though, with Deschamps. We've seen that.
Can they with that midfield, and can they with that back line, and can they, are they going to have to rely on being a different type of team this time, and does that get them over the line? I have some concerns.
And especially in the group that they're in, you would expect them to come out of it, obviously, but facing up against Norway and Senegal, those are going to be 2 really tough matchups. Senegal, the Kings of Africa. Norway, of course, you're going to have the Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe matchup that we're all looking forward to. It's not going to be an easy group stage for them, and there's a lot of things that they'll have to figure out.
It's not just not an easy group stage. I'm going to stop talking about the Heat at some point, but MetLife, 3 o'clock kickoff. Philly, 5 p.m. kickoff. Foxborough, 3 o'clock kickoff. In that sweaty, humid northeast, those are going to be 3 really rough games. I think people think about Miami and they think about the Heat. People think about Mexico City and they think about the Heat. But those are rough stadiums to play in. They are outdoors. They are exposed. They are not designed for summer sports, and they are, I think, going to be tough. Really, really tough.
I'm right there with you, and I don't want to discount the 4th group nation in the group. Group I, France, Senegal, Iraq. Congratulations to them. They made it through in the playoff, the FIFA Interconfederation playoff, and then Norway as well. So you'd expect those 3 teams, France, Senegal, Norway, more than likely going to make it out of this. But in order to provide the longevity that you need, finishing top of this group obviously gives you a more favorable pathway to the final. And that's something that France will be battling with these other 2 nations, again, with all due respect to Iraq.
Let's talk a little bit about the strike options, though, because as much as that is an unbelievable front line, Jean-Philippe Mateta, he's coming out of Crystal Palace. He's had a good season. He's scored some important goals for them, particularly on the European stage.
100%.
But I mentioned Esteban Laporte. He's a guy we've talked about this week around the French Player of the Year conversation. Leading Liga in goals. 20 goals this season, was not nominated for any awards by the French Players Union, has not made the World Cup squad, has not made Ligue 1's team of the season. There are other guys, I think Florian Thauvin of Lens can probably feel a little bit hard done by. He was nominated for Ligue 1 Player of the Season. He's one of the top 5 players in theory in that league. He's one who I think really has suffered because those other options are just unbelievable out wide. But there is a part of me that thinks, why has Laporte not got into this team over the course of the season? Why didn't he play in the last window? Why didn't he get those chances? What is it about Mateta that Deschamps you think likes so much more? Is it that he is a difference to a Dembele? Is it that he is a bit more of a classic hold-it-up striker, big-bodied guy? Like, is it the difference that makes that change?
I think that's it. And Mateta's shown that he can lead a line as well. And this has been well-deserved for Mateta over the course of not just this season, obviously the last couple seasons. He's been well-deserving of getting some of these caps that he's received for France. But the other part is, as easy as it is to question why someone's not in it, who is he going to replace?
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
France is stacked. France is Dembele, Doué, Mateta, Mbappe, Barcola, Olise, Marcus Thuram, who we haven't even mentioned yet.
Yeah.
Like, some of these guys are not going to play. Yes, we want to talk about this depth, but it's too much depth. They could literally make three squads.
Play 6 forwards. Just play 6 forwards. You'll be fine.
They might have to. Like, Turkey's going to have to play in the midfield, even though they have him listed as a forward. He's going to have to be a creative midfielder to help add depth in the midfield. And then there's probably somebody else that's going to drop in the midfield as well because they're going to need more bodies in the midfield. So it's unfortunate. Esteban Laporte, well deserving of playing in this World Cup for France or any other nation. It's just, unfortunately, France just has way too much quality and too much talent. And as we've seen, some of the Francophone players who typically could have been called up for a nation like France are going to their native countries of Cameroon, of other West African nations, just because they realize the reality. They're not going to get called up for France because it's just too many great players.
Guess what? We didn't get time to talk about the fact that Brighton's Matoma missed out on the Japan squad after suffering that hamstring injury against Wolves last week. We didn't get a chance to talk about the announcement of the Belgian squad either.
Ivory Coast just got announced as we were just on air, and there's a lot of thoughts I have about this team because I really like the young talent on the squad.
Hey, listen, we're going to be on 5 days a week.
Yes.
All the way up until June the 8th, when the World Cup week starts, when we go 7 days a week here on the S Word, from the talkSPORT YouTube channel, from the talkSPORT S Word YouTube channel.
This is just an appetizer.
Well, we are just,
this is an appetizer.
There's going to be so much time to prepare for this World Cup, to prepare you for this World Cup, to preview every group, to preview every game, to preview every stage of the biggest and maybe greatest World Cup of all time, played across 3 nations, particularly in your great nation of the USA, America, where we're broadcasting to. Stop it. But for now, thank you for joining us this week. It's been a brilliant week, full of sensational guests. Keep checking out the fine action across our YouTube channel, and thank you for enjoying the S Word.
America! The daily deep dive into the world of football.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.